So in this video, we're going to be talking about a kind of weird article, to be honest. The title of the article is, Should Lil Wayne Retire After Funeral? Is now the optimum time for Lil Wayne to say goodbye? If anything, I feel like it's actually the best time for him to be releasing music because he doesn't have to deal with any of the situations he was dealing with in previous years when it comes to Birdman and Cash Money not paying him. But this person has actually a different type of point of view. He actually references a 2019 interview to start the article where Wayne was talking about how he's actually gonna approach the art form in a different type of way. He says, and I quote, "I can't wait to get into the studio now every night just to see what I could come up with. Before it was just me going to the studio and saying, let me kill 10 more songs, and then I'm going to go home and do whatever I was doing. Now it's let me see what I can come up with. Self-discovery, rebirth, call it whatever you want to call it, but it feels awesome, I swear to God." So this person actually goes around referencing previous interviews where he's actually considering retirement Wayne. He actually talks about a 2011 interview with GQ where he talks about how he's been 18 years in the game, and he pretty much talks about how he wants to put more focus on his two artists than trying to be selfish and just actually focusing on his music and on his project, that he wants to put more of the role of a boss and have that business mindset when it comes to the music industry at that point in time, focusing on Drake and Nicki Minaj when it came to 2011, because definitely that was a point in time where these artists were actually rising and actually getting to a point where they were very, very popular. But when it comes to that, Wayne was still releasing music at that point as well. Now he actually does other references where Wayne was pretty much pledging to leave gracefully when it comes to the 2016 Twitter war that he was having with Cash Money, like I mentioned previously, where he pretty much felt like he couldn't actually release music at his point in time. And at his time frame, it just felt like Cash Money didn't really give a fuck about Carter 5 at that point in time. And he was actually talking about Carter 5 way back in 2014. And 2016 was that point in time where it just felt like, man, we're never going to get Carter 5. When is it actually going to come out? But as you guys know, at this point, it did actually come out. And it did actually do very, very well when it came to the first week, doing 480,000 the first week when it comes to sales. It's actually really, really good, of course, for Wayne. People were actually happy about that. But this person actually keeps talking about these points in time because he feels like this is actually making his case stronger, because he feels like it wouldn't actually be unreasonable to assume that funeral has an actual symbolic meaning when it comes to the title, and that it's actually something where he might actually just retire at this point in time now that he actually doesn't have to deal with any problems, and just release a project that's going to be good overall and not be stagnant, as he says later on in the article, to actually just go with a goodbye that's actually graceful. But I feel like, if anything, it should be the contrary when it comes to this, because it actually feels like these points right here actually feel like actually benefit the side of people thinking he should release music even more now, because he's in a point in time where he doesn't have to deal with any of the bullshit he was dealing with previously, with Cash Money, with Birdman, with people not paying him. It got to the point where even Drake was actually referencing that when it came to his If You're Reading This Is Too Late project, and he actually talked about checks and everything when it came to that track. You should actually listen to the project if you haven't, because he actually talks about the Wayne situation and Birdman and Cash Money, and even him not getting paid the right amount. So it feels like this should actually be the right time for Wayne to keep releasing music, because he's not in a bad situation, and it actually feels like he's going into a different mindset when it comes to the music he releases. Like, it feels like he's back to that type of way of looking at the art form in a different type of approach that is actually meaningful to him. I don't understand why he's actually looking at it in the way of Wayne considering retirement at this point, because he keeps saying further on that he does this points of views where he looks at Fat Joe retiring at this point in time because he wants to spend more time with his family, and he looks at Game the way he's actually retiring now and releasing his last album. But keep in mind, these artists that he's actually pointing out right here at the end, I could actually put it over here. He talks about them without actually acknowledging the fact that the Game and Fat Joe are going into this path because they didn't have to deal with these type of problems where they couldn't release the music at the time frame that they wanted to. Wayne this past decade had to deal with all these issues where he couldn't release the music at the right time because he just wasn't getting paid, and he felt like he was actually being stopped from releasing the music purposely. So now that he's actually free, it should actually be a situation where he feels like he could actually release more than just one project like that freely, because Carter 5 was the one that was actually dealing with all those type of situations. So I don't feel like it's a fair point of view to actually reference the Game and Fat Joe and try to make Wayne go through that type of transition into going right there if he doesn't want to, when he didn't have the same type of decade in the sense that he couldn't release the music at his time frame, at his point in time. But he talks about how that actually was a detriment to the project, and he says that it was actually to the point where we weren't really getting a lot of great points, where it was actually many sticking points, he says, like right here. Aside from its oppressive length, centralized around the feeling that both he and the audience had been there and done that. Like in a sense trying to say like we've been here, we've been actually listening to this type of Wayne before, and it's very long. Like we didn't actually get anything new from it. What else were you expecting from Wayne? Because I certainly feel like when it came to this project right here, we got a way better version of Wayne than on previous points where he didn't feel like we were actually getting something meaningful from him, like he wasn't actually putting the same type of effort. I definitely felt like we were actually getting bars from Wayne on that project. The point about it might actually teeter towards stagnancy, and it might actually make him potentially face more wrath of critics and fans if he actually comes with a project that might actually go into this type of same vibe of actually delivering the same thing over and over again. I feel like actually doesn't make any sense. Like, what's the point in saying that when you think about it? What really is the point in saying that? Because if anything, if you're a Wayne fan, you would actually enjoy getting the same thing that you got on Carter 5, in the sense that he actually delivered bars once again, that he wasn't actually in a point in time where he wasn't putting effort into the tracks. Because there were certainly tracks throughout this decade that I felt like he wasn't actually putting the same type of effort. But that wasn't the case with the Carter 5. People actually enjoyed the project. So I don't really understand that point of view like that. And if you're worried for it being like actually tarnishing his legacy, in the sense that it actually might be stagnant moments throughout this decade, this new decade, if Wayne just keeps going, I don't feel like his legacy is going to be broken at all. Like, if you actually pay attention to the artists nowadays, the majority of them are actually doing what Wayne was doing way back. Their biggest influence has definitely been Lil Wayne, bro. Like, just think about it. These artists most of them keep using Lil in their names. Like, the reason they do that is because of Lil Wayne, bro. Like, when you think about the skinny jeans now that people be using all the time, rappers, they use the skinny jeans, the tatted faces, and the dreads, and they have the Lil in the names. That's literally because of Lil Wayne. Like, Wayne was using skinny jeans at a point in time where it wasn't actually as popular as it is right now. He was using the dreads with the tatted face and the auto-tune. And that's pretty much every single rapper currently right now, bruh, when you think about it, with the Lil in their names as well. So the biggest influence for all these rappers is definitely Lil Wayne, bruh. And at the same time, when it comes to that, that definitely helps acknowledge the fact that, wow, he influenced an entire generation to actually do this type of style, this type of music. So his legacy is definitely not going to be tarnished. And there's definitely no reason for Lil Wayne to consider retirement. So I don't understand the article when it says it would be optimal for Wayne to retire after funeral. I'm definitely going to listen to the project, give my review and my thoughts about it. And maybe, who knows, maybe my mind might actually change when I listen to the project. But it probably won't, because even if it's not a project I enjoy, I feel like the fact that he's actually more free right now to release the music he wants to release is a big point to why he actually should keep doing music at this point in time. But let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts. Subscribe for some other reactions. Let me know your thoughts about if Wayne should retire or not. after funeral. And I'm out, bro. Take care.